we're to be celebrating this holiday, holy day called Easter. And the Easter that we celebrate today is actually a very interesting and curious blend of religion and secular, paganism, Christianity, Judaism. Some say that the word Easter is derived from Estor, an ancient Anglo-Saxon goddess. She symbolized the rebirth of the day at dawn and spring. The arrival of spring was celebrated all over the world long before the religious meaning was associated with Easter. As Christianity grew and spread throughout the world, it was a common practice to adopt and modify existing non-Christian festivals and assimilate them into the Christian theology. Because Astore was the goddess of spring and her symbolism dealt with rebirth and renewal, the Christian belief in the resurrection of Christ fit perfectly with this tradition, the pagan traditions. Now, to the traditional Christians, the Easter is a commemoration. Maybe I had too much coffee. A commemoration of the ordeal, the trial, and the execution of Jesus of Nazareth, and according to the Christian dogma, the physical resurrection and ascension of Jesus Christ to heaven. Easter, as it's celebrated today, is part passion play, and funeral, and 2/3 of a miracle story. It's this raw story of the physical suffering of one good man whose only assignment was to carry out his divine assignment to bring love, life, and abundant joy into the world that was racked with violence, ignorance, and hatred. Sounds familiar to this day, you know? This simple Jewish man was on a mission to bring forth light where darkness had reigned before. He threatened the status quo and therefore was eliminated. Easter is actually an allegory for renewal, for rebirth, the passing away of the old and the birth of the new. The death of Jesus and his passion on Calvary is a symbol of the releasing of an old life and being clothed in an enlightened, conscious life. The life lived in conscious presence. This is not accomplished until we kill off the old life and move beyond the mental struggle and angst into what Jesus, the master teacher, called the kingdom of heaven. This kingdom was never a place in the sky, but a state of consciousness. Heaven on earth is according to our consciousness. We create it every day. We can create heaven or hell by how we think. Easter is not a mysterious magic show where a man is transformed into a god, but it is a template for the transformation of our hearts, of our souls, and of our minds. Now, it's not a magic show, but I'm going to tell you an Easter magic story. You good with that? What was that? Yeah. Okay, well, you might have missed out if you hadn't been. So there was a man who was driving along the highway, and he sees a rabbit hopping across the street, across the road. Well, he swerves to miss it. Unfortunately, he hits the rabbit. He pulls over to the side, and he sees that the rabbit is dead. He's brokenhearted, and he starts to cry unconditionally. He's just sobbing, and a woman who's driving by, she stops to see what's wrong. And the man goes, "I'm so sorry. I tried to miss the rabbit, but he's dead." And the woman looks at him and goes, "I know just what to do." So she goes over to her car, she opens up the trunk, and she brings out a can. And she comes over to the rabbit, and she sprays the entire contents of the can on to this rabbit. Miraculously, this rabbit jumps up, back to life, starts hopping down the road, turns around, and waves to the man and the woman. And then he starts hopping again in another 50 yards. He turns and he waves. Again, he hops down the road and he turns and he waves. And the man's like, "What was in that can?" And she turned the can around and it said, "Hairspray. Restores life to dead hair. Adds permanent wave." Well, it is Easter. So Easter is actually about the resurrection. So what is the resurrection? That's what we're going to talk about. There's a little boy who was at church, and the priest called all the children up to the platform, and he asked the children, "Who knows what the resurrection is?" And one little boy said, "I'm not sure exactly, but if you have one for 4 hours, you need to go to the hospital." Okay. Well, this is the church different. Well, yes, we are. We couldn't, I couldn't resist. I mean, Easter only comes one time a year, so that's just how it goes. So now that we had the little boy's definition of what resurrection is, we're going to go to the co-founder of Unity, Charles Fillmore, and what he says in his writings called The True Lent. He says, "Easter is the celebration of the resurrection of Jesus. Its inner meaning and spiritual significance is the awakening and raising to spiritual consciousness of the I am in mankind, which has been dead in its awareness of the truth of who and what we are, and it's buried in the tomb of materiality and illusions and lies and fear-based conditioning that we've all received, not by any fault, because everyone is fear-based and conditioned through generations. But we're here to awaken to the truth. Jesus, I came that they may have life and life abundantly. The resurrection is the raising up of our consciousness into a new reality, to see life from a different perspective, and we'll talk more about that. Every time we rise to the realization of an eternal, indwelling God-divine life with the divine within, the resurrection of Jesus takes place. You see, today is not about Jesus' dying and coming back to life. We're having our own personal Easter today. It's what is Easter going to be for you, and what is that transformation that I'm going to invite all of us to enter into today. I came that they may have life more abundantly. So the resurrection is when we rise up in our consciousness. And I spoke about this last week. We have what I call is the caterpillar mind. The caterpillar creeps along the ground and is only interested in its own being and to eat. It doesn't know anything else. It has a very limited viewpoint of itself. However, the truth is that caterpillar of ourselves has a greater calling. We're actually butterflies. But we have to die to the old consciousness, the limiting consciousness that sees myself as a limited being and has all these beliefs about what I can and can't do, or what I can be or not be. So the idea is that we need to shed and to die away from those limiting thoughts. So again, to be born into, to have a new life, we have to first have the crucifixion. Again, back to Charles Fillmore in Crucifixion. He says the word crucifixion means the crossing out of consciousness. The cross that's this way is the cross of creating a crossing out in consciousness are limiting error thoughts and beliefs that have become fixed states of mind. It is the enactment of a master teacher, of the final extinction of a limited mindset. It's the giving up of the personal only, I'm just one person, from the me to the we consciousness, so that the Christ mind can be fully expressed. You know, Calvary actually means the place of the skull. And the final battle for any one of us is here in the mind. It is, the final battle is the release of limiting thoughts, of things that have been taught that are not true. One of the things that many people are taught these days is that we are born sinners. We don't believe that. We don't see ourselves as sinners. We are the divine in expression. Everything that Jesus is and was and that he did, we can do too. He was the greatest metaphysician. He was the teacher and the living example and demonstration for us and how we can transform from what we've been taught, what we've been conditioned to believe, into something bigger, to our butterfly selves. So, again, we need to die to those limiting beliefs. And I said it just now is that, what did I say? She said something. What is Christ mind? Because we talk about going from the limited caterpillar human mind to the Christ mind. So the Christ mind or Christ consciousness is pure awareness infused with unconditional love and unreserved compassion. Pure awareness. And what is that awareness of? It's the awareness that divinity is everywhere present. The indigenous cultures knew that there is life, there's a life intelligence in everything that is seen and unseen. So it is that awareness that everything is the divine, it's all energy, the source energy, and that awareness that we are divine beings, regardless of what we think, we are divine, God beings. And third, the universal principle that we create our realities. We create by what we think and believe. Jesus, the great way shower, said, "It is done unto us as we believe." So I better question my beliefs, to look at our beliefs and change them, because if I have a new belief, we call this new thought teaching. If I have a new thought and it becomes a belief, I have a new experience in life. So, let's see. There's so many papers up here. Who put all this up here? Oh my God. Oh, that's not it. You know, isn't it great that your minister is a human? Wow. So, remember that Jesus was our teacher. He was the example and not the exception. Everything I do, you can do, and even greater. He showed us a way that if we follow the way, his example, we too can live an abundant life of freedom. It's recorded in the Bible that while dying on the cross, Jesus said 7 last words or phrases. The crucifixion story and these 7 phrases, metaphysically interpreted and made relevant today, actually give us a blueprint for transformation. Would you like a blueprint for transformation? For letting go of the past and transcending or resurrection into our next level of expansion and greater consciousness and love. Whether you're moving through a great major transition in your life or you're simply feeling spirit within you, some discontent in our world. I think we all have discontent in what's happening in our world. But there is something greater than what's happening in the world. And I believe that is spirit as us. We are the beginning. We are those that are being called forth. So, we're going to study today these 7 words of transformation. Now, did everybody get 2 cards when you walked in? If you didn't, please raise your hand so we can make sure you have these 2 cards. Okay, we're getting them handed out. Excellent. And we have a helper. For those in the cyber sanctuary, there's going to be a little bit of a ritual today, so this is your moment to grab a piece of paper, a couple pieces of paper, because we have 2, and there's a reason for them. Keep your hand up if you didn't receive, because they're coming around, and a whole lot of people need those up here in the front. Thank you. So one of these pieces of notepad, please leave blank. One of them is for the ritual that we will do. The second one is for you to take notes, okay? I think there's more hands. Oh, well, now, okay. One big happy family here. We have our note sheets. One is to keep blank. One of them, I'm going to invite you to take notes because these 7 phrases are something I want you to take home with you. I want you to be able to practice. And the great thing about that there's 7 phrases that Jesus uses as our blueprint on the cross is that there's 7 days in the week. So you can go to Monday, I'm doing this. Tuesday, I'm doing this. Now I take each of those phrases and I boil it into one word, and then I'm going to give you explanation. So one of these, I know it's not large, but you can make notes. One of these you'll be taking notes on for your own help to continue the practice. The other one, you're keeping blank. Okay, so we're moving into these 7 phrases. And the first one, the first word, and I'd call it for Monday, would be forgiveness. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Forgiveness. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Because forgiveness sets us free. If I'm carrying around resentment and anger, I'm not going to be able to rise up because it's weighing me down. I need to forgive. Resentment and victim stories will keep me from rising up and being able to be the butterfly because I've got that heaviness. Now remember that people who hurt people are actually hurting themselves. And they also don't know of their own divinity. They don't know that they are the divine and so is everyone else. If they knew that, they wouldn't hurt someone else. Father, forgive them. Now, the word Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do, is talking to that part of us that I call God self. I don't particularly call God Father, but, for me, it's God self. My God self doesn't judge. The Father within spirit doesn't judge because it's pure, unconditional love, okay? So spirit, God self Father, doesn't need to forgive because it never judged. It's me, it's we that have judged because we are taught as children to be very judgmental beings. Don Miguel Ruiz in the Four Agreements talks a lot about our judgment. We're trained to judge. And then we're also given punishment and reward for what is good, what is right, what is wrong. And there's nothing bad about that unless we judge it as that. So here's the thing. I want to be in my forgiveness, but on my own, something might have been very hurtful to me, or I did something hurtful to another. Maybe my human self, my caterpillar self, cannot be gracious enough to release judgment, because I believe that forgiveness is not me being better than you and I'm going to let you off the hook for your bad behaviors. It's called, I'm releasing my judgment of you because I don't want to be weighed down with this. So, A Course in Miracles says, forgiveness is removing a block in our awareness of to the experience of love's presence. I love that. Forgiveness is removing a block in our awareness to the experience of love's presence. So I want to forgive. I want to let that go, that block go. How can you do that? I always give you the how-tos because it's nice to say, well, forgive. I have what is called a forgiveness letter that if you're in the cyber sanctuary, you can write me at revliz@unitysantafe.org. I will send you a copy. I have some out in the foyer. The forgiveness letter is a very powerful tool. You also might use a phrase such as, I forgive or release my judgment of so-and-so because my God self knows that they didn't know what they were doing. And you might say, well, they did too. They didn't know who they were. They didn't know that they were the divine. So I am letting go of my judgment because I was unaware of the truth of myself, the truth of another. So forgiveness is the first practice in setting ourselves free to rise up into a new life. Ready for 2? Yeah, they're all busy writing or falling asleep. No, they're not sleeping on my shift. No. The second day, Tuesday, the word is now. The word is now. Truly I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise. Now Jesus was speaking to the 2 thieves on either side of him. And metaphysically, these 2 thieves are robbing us of our true power. These 2 thieves are the consciousness states of past and future. They rob us of the power of living in today and the now. Think about it. How many times are you reminiscing or going into thoughts about things that have already happened? We all do. And the truth is, we might be grieving. You know, there's good to have in memories. I'm not saying not to think about things in the past. However, if we are getting locked into the past, it is robbing us of the present moment and our power. Same goes with the future. How many of you ever worry or have a doubt or a fear about anything happening in the future that hasn't happened yet? Hello. You know, it also robs us of our power because our power can only be found in the now. Only by living in the now can we experience heaven on earth and paradise. Today, you will be with me in paradise if I'm focused in the now. It's the only time there really is. You've probably heard the past is history, the future is a mystery, today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. How? I love to give you the hows. How do you stay in the now? Give you something simple. You breathe and you say, I'm here now. I'm here now. Spirit's here now. Love is here now. Just over and over, I am here now. It'll bring you into the now. It's a simple phrase and it carries a lot of power. I'm here now. I'm here now. When I'm starting to float off somewhere else, no, I'm here now. And it can bring me back to the present moment. Wednesday, number 3, the word is oneness. Woman, behold your son. Behold your mother. Well, Jesus was talking to his mother, Mary, and the disciple John. Now, why did he say this to his mother and to John? Well, it speaks of our oneness. We only have one family, and it is the family of humanity. We can only rise up when we release our sense of separation from each other in all the roles of husband, of wife, of mother, of daughter, of son, of lover, of Jewish, of Catholic, of Muslim, of Buddhist. We have all these things, black or white, yellow, brown. We have old and young and rich and poor. We have gay and straight and in various genders and transgenders. You know, it's one family. And today is National Trans Visibility Day, recognizing that trans people are people that don't feel comfortable in the body that we're born in. Why judge them? Why not love them? They're part of our family. It's brothers and sisters. In India, they call each other auntie and uncle. We need to have that mindset that there's only one family. Now, the question and the statement, woman, behold your son, behold your mother, actually says to us, behold all people as our family, because we are one family, and each one of us is a unique, individualized expression of the divine. The question for you is, who do you see as different? Who do you see as different? It's easy to see our friends, maybe our family, maybe not, as our family. Those that you don't agree with, are they part of your family? Here's your how. And you know, Jesus did say the second biggest commandment is to love your neighbor as yourself and to love your enemies. You know, everybody's a mirror. So the how on this one is practice saying, all are divine. Let's say that. All are divine. I am divine. We're all divine. I open my heart to all of God's family because we are one. Okay, you got your oneness practice. Moving right along. Okay, we are now moving into day 4. The word is truth. My God, why have you forsaken me? Forsake means to leave completely, to desert, or to abandon. How many of you have ever felt abandoned by God? Or felt God was a million miles away? Or perhaps questioned, does God even exist? Okay? We're being real here today, right? And here's Jesus, the great way shower, who's been all about teaching that the Father and I are one, and I've been preaching and teaching oneness. And here he is demonstrating his own sense of abandonment and pain and despair. So what is up with that? Well, number one, he's showing us that he can speak the truth. The word is truth. He is not whitewashing and trying to cover up what is happening in his life. He is a human being. He is afraid. He's crying. He's afraid for his life. He's showing to us, though, that he is willing to speak his truth. And how many of us are afraid to speak our truth? God cannot forsake us. A part of us, our victim consciousness, still clings to the belief that there is something outside of us that has power over us. We must free ourselves completely from any and all beliefs that there is a power outside of us. I believe that Jesus knew that there was no power outside of him, yet in the midst of fully surrendering to this truth, he demonstrated that fear can have a voice. We don't need to hide our fear, but speak it out loud. Bring it to the light of prayer. It's because Jesus had faith that he could speak freely the fear of betrayal out loud. It's okay to feel forsaken when life calls us to change. The roles we're living from yesterday don't apply to today. It can be very confusing and scary, and it doesn't mean that you lack faith. You only lack faith if you believe the fear to be true and cover it up. Pretending you're okay when you're not feeling it will create conflicting energy that separates you from the possibility of feeling God in the midst of your transformation. Practice always speaking what you are feeling and fearing, not to give it power, but the opposite, to bring it to the light and diffuse its power. Admit you feel forsaken. You can't make it go away by hiding it, but you can transform it by bringing it to the light of love. This was written by somebody. Mark Anthony Lord. Sorry, Mark. He's a minister too. Amazing that. So that's your truth. Number 5, the word is vision. And the phrase is, I thirst. I thirst. To thirst is to desire that which gives you life. To thirst in the midway place of change and transformation shows us where there's discomfort, because we have to leave the comfort zone of what we've always known. We have to leave the familiar, and we get this thirst because it's like, I want that discomfort to go away. It's also called divine discontent. And so when you have divine discontent, identify what that divine discontent is, and then you want to replace it. You want to replace it with vision. What would you like instead? Because I don't want to stay in that which I'm leaving. I want to have a new vision. I thirst means have a vision. Identify your vision and then feel into it. What are you thirsty for? Ask yourself that in your practice. What am I thirsty for? More peace? Tranquility? Better relationships? What am I thirsty for? I'm thirsty for greater anything. And then feel it and imagine it on a daily basis. That is your vision. The caterpillar has imaginal cells, okay? Because it has to die to what it's always known. The imaginal cells must be activated. I spoke of this last week. The vision is your imagination. So use it to set yourself free. What day are we on? 6? 7? 6. Completion. The word is completion, and it means it is finished, is what Jesus says. So for us to move forward, to rise up, we have to have 100% completion on letting go of what we've been conditioned to believe about ourselves in order to transform. So what limiting belief is holding you back, is hanging you up, is blocking your good? How to do completion? To do completion is we create a ritual or a ceremony, and we are doing a powerful practice to close a door to what is no more. And we're going to do that now, okay? So we're going to do a meditation, and the sheet that you have not written on, I want you to bring that out so that you have it available. And I invite you to close your eyes and take a breath and let it go. Another breath in and release. Now just notice your breath, and the Spirit is breathing you. And so now ask yourself, your divine self, what must I let go of now to be free to be who I was born to be? as my butterfly self? What limiting thoughts and beliefs must I release? As a thought of a limiting belief comes to your mind, I invite you to open your eyes and write that belief down on the blank card or piece of paper. After you've written a limiting belief, close your eyes and write another one. And if another one comes up, I am releasing my belief that. Whatever comes to mind, you write it down. This is for completion, to let go. You may continue to write if more limiting thoughts or beliefs come to your mind. As I speak about day 7, the 7th day practice is surrender. Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. Means we surrender. Surrender sets us free, and it is not the surrender that means I give up, you win, and I lose, but the surrender of trust. Full trust, to completely and surrender to trust that you are a caterpillar being. The divine is all there is, and it's within you and as you. Surrender to that truth. Let it be the new idea of who you are and came to be and are willing to be now. We fully release our false, limited caterpillar mind and rise up in being transformed into the free, unlimited butterfly selves. Romans 12:2. Be transformed by the renewal of your mind. So if your eyes are open, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes again. And imagine that we have actually done these 7 spiritual transformational steps. We're practicing forgiveness, living in the now, living in the consciousness of oneness, of being real and speaking our truth. We are living a vision of a butterfly self as us. We are completing by releasing any limiting beliefs, and we are surrendering to the truth that I am a divine being. Always have been and always will be. And so moving into that tomb and cocoon of stillness and silence, we wait as transformation is occurring on our cellular level in our consciousness. And a new word appears on the screen of our minds. This new word represents our new life. From the tomb and cocoon is now the womb of new life. We are being raised up by our God self to be more of who we came here to be. We're rising up into new life. And so it is.